Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. The Italian Job is a 1969 British comedy caper film that was written by Troy Kennedy Martin and produced by Michael Dealey. The film was directed by Peter Collinson, and it starred Michael Caine. The movie's plot centers around a criminal named Charlie Croker, recently released from prison, who forms a gang for the job of stealing a cache of gold bullion being transported through the city of Turin, Italy. Along with Caine, the film's cast includes Benny Hill, Rafe Vallone, Tony Beckley, and Noel Howard. The soundtrack for the picture was composed by Quincy Jones, and it's a really catchy one. It gets in your head and you can't get it out after you've seen the movie. It features songs like On These Days, sung by Matt Monroe, that play over the opening credits, and Get a Blooming Move On, which is usually referred to as the Self-Preservation Society. Benny Hill plays a really brief but funny role as a professor in the film, and he's infatuated with big-bottomed women. Michael Caine speaks about working with Benny Hill, saying that he was very professional, but he was really shy and very much a private person who never socialized with the other cast members. He would stay in his room all alone the entire time of the shoot. British Motor Corporation, the owners of the Mini that is so prominent in this film, refused to donate any cars for this movie. But the chief of Fiat Motors offered to donate all the cars that the production needed, including Fiat 500s in place of the Minis. But the director felt like this was a very British movie and that they needed British Minis for the role. Fiat's boss still donated scores of cars for the movie, as well as allowing the use of their factory grounds. And even though the authorities refused to close the roads, the Italian mafia stepped in and shut down whole sections of Turin during the filming. So the traffic jams you see in the movie are actually real, and so are the people's reactions to it. Michael Caine felt like the movie didn't perform well in the U.S. box office because of a real misleading advertising campaign. The U.S. poster featured a scantily clad woman with a map on her back kneeling in front of a mafioso that's holding a machine gun. While he was promoting the movie in the U.S., Caine saw this poster and became so irate about it that he immediately flew home to England. The film is primarily about cars and driving. Michael Caine could not drive at the time the movie was made, and in fact, you never see him driving a car. The only time Charlie is assumed to be driving is the cut between when he picks up his Aston Martin at the garage and in the next shot, when we see it arrive outside the hotel. Caine gets out of a stationary Aston Martin after a further cut. Throughout the drive to Turin and the entire heist, Croker is always a passenger. They filmed a scene for a part of the Mini Cooper chase sequence on an ice rink, with the cars gliding past each other, accompanied by Johann Strauss music. That scene was eventually cut for timing reasons, but it's included in a lot of the special edition DVD sets that you'll find on the market. The sewer scenes were filmed near Coventry, where several miles of Birmingham Coventry sewers were being constructed. The camera car was a Mini that preceded the other Coopers and was driven by one of the team that was a complete daredevil. They were really excited about this scene because they wanted to try to complete a 360-degree barrel roll, essentially getting the Cooper upside down on the ceiling of the sewer. They tried 3 times to do this, but the slippery algae that was on the sewer caused many problems, and the Mini ended up on its roof 3 times. The car was damaged so badly that a fourth attempt was ruled out. During one of the rehearsals, they were able to complete this entire barrel roll, but the cameras weren't rolling at that time. All the other stunt work in this film were completed with no problem. This was the only one that defeated the team. The roof-to-roof jump was filmed on the roof of the Fiat factory. Some crew members actually walked off the set because they were so worried that it would ending in a fatality. And the Italian Fiat workers made the sign of the cross to the stuntman doing the stunt. The screenplay was originally set in London, and it was to have been a TV show. The scope of the production was too large for British TV at the time, so the script was purchased for the movie, and the setting was changed because Turin had the most expensive computer-controlled traffic monitoring system that was in Europe at the time. Milan had been the original location of choice until the producers realized it would be impossible to get a shooting permit there. The Lamborghini in the opening scene was an actual vehicle that was on its way to a customer. They swapped in black seats for the usual white so they wouldn't get damaged. The Lamborghini destroyed in the crash is a different vehicle, one that had been in an accident and was too heavily damaged to be repaired. If you watch the clip closely, you'll see that there's no engine when the car breaks apart as it rolls down the cliff. The interior scenes of the prison that held Bridger was in Dublin, Ireland. The training sessions shown for the many drivers were at the Crystal Palace racetrack in Upper Northwood, South London. The attempt to blow the doors off of the bullion van, which caused its total destruction and produced Croker's line, "You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off," all took place at the Crystal Palace Sports Center. The producer of the film was really unsatisfied with 4 different endings that he had written for the film. He came up and conceived the current ending as a literal cliffhanger, which is pretty appropriate for this action film, which left the opportunity for a sequel. Some of the other endings that they came up with were that one of them involved the mafia rescuing the crew only to steal the money back. This also set up a potential sequel. Another ending was to have the money make its way all the way to England, only to have Mr. Bridger tell the group to return it. What complicated this ending even more was that when the second unit crew was filming the bus hanging over the cliff, the camera in the helicopter created such a downdraft that it threatened to push the bus over the cliff. The crew had to immediately hang on to the front of the bus to keep this from happening. It's definitely a great ending, and there have been contests that create the same scenario on what you would do to get yourself out of that situation. This is a great film that's a really fun watch. Take a look at it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.